Well, my final guest in the studio right now knows all about movies and creating the right music for movies. Like I said before, he's a songwriter, producer, creative. His name is KZ, and he's not just any songwriter, producer, creative. He's won a Bafta for his work. He's been nominated for a Mercury Prize Award, a Brit nomination as well for the projects that he's worked on. He's had his music played in Black Panther, Fast and Furious, the list goes on. And it does because he is still in the making of writing his legacy. And he's here now. I had to catch him now before he gets too pricey.
Please.
How are you?
I'm good, my darling. Thank you for having me, man.
No problemo. You've been booked and busy, flying around.
We have been trying to make things happen.
You look like you're living the life because I've seen your stories. You're in Jamaica. Where have you just come back from?
So I did a bit of a little mini tour. It was so I was in Jamaica, I was in Miami, LA, and then Austin, and then back to LA? Yeah, back to LA.
So you're like doing influencer life.
Please, listen, I'm just trying to seek out where the greatest music is, where there's some more inspiration, and I think it's just important to travel, it's obviously most importantly spread your work, and it also feels good when, you're wanted in other spaces, in other territories, and I'm a big traveller, and so I kind of just take the opportunity when it comes, you know what I mean?
I love this. I live through your stories.
Listen, I would love for each one of those trips to be a holiday, but they'll work. You should have me this money, you know what I'm saying?
You're giving it that spiel. I'm like, okay, all right. But let's go back to the beginning of your journey anyway, because you are a producer, like I said, songwriter, creative, lover of music. But where did it start for you?
I mean, I can give you when I was a kid, but I guess I'll give you a somewhat of a condensed version. So, I mean, for me, I've always grown up around music. My dad used to be a producer and writer, and so my mum was a singer, and they were on the art scene in London when they were younger. So I would just kind of see a lot of creativity in my house. I'd be dragged to gigs. I'd be dragged. I mean, at the time, as a 4-year-old, 5-year-old, I'm just want to play, bro.
Yeah.
Like, I ain't trying to sit and watch people sing. But it informed my path, and it allowed me to gain some really, really great skills, but also look at what success within art looks like, but also what failure looks like, and how you navigate the two. So yeah, I was around a lot of that, and there was a lot around my parents' friends who, some big celebrities, around the 90s, and it was really good that.
Right?
Wow, you did research, huh?
I told you, come on, it's part of my job. But yeah, don't just skim over that.
So my aunt, who was in Soul to Soul, was a big group at the time. I used to kind of go on tour with them when I was a kid, watch them in rehearsals, and again, a lot of those early moments from being in the studio, watching my dad create and my uncles, and watching my mum make artwork or just tour with my auntie, was like, it kind of informed exactly the direction I wanted to go in. But I know from a really young age, I was like, I want to be the person that puts this together. I'm okay to be the artist thing, that looks fun, but who's behind the scenes, bro? Who's making my aunt go on tour? Who's making the music and writing these songs that we're singing over and over again? Like, I was so fascinated with the why of everything that it was more, okay, I'm probably going to end up being this person who curates all of this rather than being front and center.
Right.
Later on, I found that was more, production and songwriting. So I started getting into like studying people like Dr. Dre and Quincy Jones, and then a few homegrown producers that when I was a kid I looked up to, like Harmony Samuels and Dreddy and Guy Chambers and people like that. So like my childhood into like teenager was like really informed of like a lot of art, and just a lot of support as well from some of these people who were kind of around my family, but who could also see that I was really into it and I really wanted to take it to the next level. So I was in everything from orchestras to big bands to rock bands to whatever I can get my hands on, however I could play, however I could just be in the mix. I was doing that from about, I'll say 12, 13. When I was allowed out, I was outside.
You're outside playing, but it sounds like you just grew up in a really nice environment that allowed you to take this risk, because this like creative life is pressure. It's scary.
It is. I mean, my parents absolutely, the first and foremost, African Caribbean household, education is the thing. So before you want to do any tinkering tankering, like, you have to make sure that there is an educational plan, that you actually study, you get good grades. I mean, and it wasn't a overpressured environment where if I didn't get good grades I couldn't play out or do music, but it was more encouraged that, okay, by getting good grades, it's going to allow you to do the things that you want to do. And so it being framed in that way, and then also being an artist, allowed me to do what I wanted to do, but also have a balance and have a foundation and go, all right, cool, look, if this doesn't work, or just have a way to figure out expanding plan A, as opposed to, I don't really like the idea of doing plan B. It's like, how do we expand plan A and use that? What's that? That's admitting failure. We're not on that.
Do you know what I mean?
So, no, not at all.
Okay. And you've got like many hats now.
Yeah.
That whether you're executive producing or you are the producer, songwriter. Did you know about all these roles beforehand, or did you kind of just learn on the job?
So I think intuitively I kind of knew that everyone did like a thing. Like I said, I was obsessed with the why of everything. And when you comb through the back of album covers and you see arranger, writer, co-producer, organist, you realize, oh, there's so many clogs that actually make this clock turn. So actually, what if I just learned all of these roles?
Yeah.
The same way I can learn these instruments. And actually that way you're more informed on, what to do in the studio and how to find artists. And I just think, like any business, right? Like if you're going to run a company, you kind of need to know what the different mechanical parts that make up the business. And I took a similar approach to music. So I was always in the album covers. I was always, as I said, I wanted to know how the result became the result.
The why.
It's the why. It's all about the why.
Okay.
And the why usually just comes with 6 or 7 people.
Yeah.
Nowadays it's like 12 or 100 people on one record. But it's and I also like the idea of a community surrounding just it doesn't have to be an artist, but just a project and everyone coming together to make this thing work and become the best thing in the world or the best thing that you've worked on. And like that, I think those are my philosophies anyway in general.
Okay. So do you have a role or a hat that you enjoy the most?
No.
Oh, really?
At the moment, I don't,
Okay.
I think I like to be an ingredient, and I can be the biggest ingredient in the room, or I can be a small ingredient, and I don't mind what role I play because, naturally I've studied each role, and each artist or each project, requires a different part of me. And, we're not linear people, right? So it's like, why not just express the different parts of you? And if you can do that professionally, try it. So I'm actually currently in a place where I'm enjoying wearing multiple hats, and I know that's a thing that we're discouraged to do, which is be a jack of all trades. But actually, like, I love being a writer one day, I love being the main producer the other day, I love just being the person who gives advice the next day, or the exec for that month or 2 months, or we're working on the projects. It just allows me to flex different muscles, and you're not contained as a creative.
And you don't get bored.
You don't get bored.
Exciting.
And I think it's important to just diversify. This in this music industry, in entertainment, like it's musical chairs. It's a revolving door, and things change, sounds change, styles change, and the best thing you can do is be adaptable. And I think the best way to be adaptable is to kind of know, different roles. Yeah.
And if anyone's tuned in now and you're wondering, who is this talking? Kojey is his name, producer, songwriter, talking about all of his successes. So you were involved in the amazing project by Kojey Radical, Reasons to Smile, that got nominated for a Mercury Prize, Brit Award. You've won a Bafta with your work on Mood on BBC. Do you have a methodology to your work? Because I think of creatives and I know, for instance, I studied like drama and theatre and we studied all these different methodologies. Do you think you have one as a producer, like when you're in that room, that like, it's like, this is the way that I work and this is why it works so great? Or do you just go with the flow?
I'd be lying if I say I haven't gone with the flow. I think a lot of creators have just vibed it out and just, what I'm saying, and just wanting to see where it takes them. And I think it's also important to do that because you've got to be open to, the powers that be and whatnot. But I think honestly my methodology is really just always approaching it from a human perspective. And what I mean by that is going beyond the thing that we're here to do. And again, back to the why. Why are we writing the song?
Yeah.
I'm saying, what is it? What's the intention behind it? And that way, that usually sparks up loads of conversations that naturally just inform maybe 3 or 4 or 5 songs, or 3 or 4 or 5 ideas. And then we can just pull from that and just make, records or scores around that. So, I mean, I like people. I like talking. Most of my sessions, that helps. I'd say most of my sessions or meetings are just probably about an hour and a half of just straight talking, because we have to get to that. I genuinely feel we've always got to get to the wire of why we're doing this. Because listen, we all want to be successful in these things that we're doing, right? But I think the best success always comes from authenticity, and it's also a matter of time. But like, bro, we want to be here for a minute, so let's talk about what we're here to do today, or this week, or this month, or the next 2 months, and then let's flesh it out in the best way, in best authentic way possible. And I think it's as simple as that, really. Yeah.
And I was saying to you earlier that I was like stalking you or doing my research. I was watching a chat that's on YouTube, actually. It's part of Union Black on YouTube, hosted by Adrian Sykes. And obviously you're listing like all the amazing things that you've done. You're also part of Stormzy's amazing project that was out. You got music in Black Panther, all of that. And I just remember thinking like, oh my God, this is a lot of pressure though as well. That like, how do you deal with the pressure of, okay, I need to deliver, whether I'm being flown out somewhere to like add some music to a huge film and I've got a few hours, or whether I need to make music that was bigger and better than my last hit. How do you deal with the pressure?
Honestly, I kind of try not to think about it too much.
Oh, so I've just made you think about
it. Because now I'm thinking about the next 2 weeks. But like I used to be, kind of still am in some ways, a really big overthinker. So the pressure would absolutely just weigh heavy on my shoulders. But, you know, thanks to therapy and just, you know, growth, I don't do that as much. And I think it's helped within my career to not think about, this person's flying me out, or I've got to work on this project. Yes, there's still nerves there, but I just have to do what I do in the room. And the truth of the matter is that they wouldn't call me if they didn't like what was already out there. We can repeat. Yeah, you got off days, but at the same time, like you're not at a place, I'm not at a place, or I haven't been in a place in life where I'll make bad work. Everything will be good, and then it's really up from there. So the truth of the matter is that even if I don't have a great session, at least it was a, you know, decent song or whatever. And that's my silver lining in it, rather than beating myself up, which I have done a lot in the past for just not getting it right or being too nervous. Do you know what I mean? I guess I'm also still figuring it out. Partly, you know, this is currently where I am right now. I'm like, I don't overthink anything, and I'm just like, let's just be in the room. Okay. What comes.
This is a good way of being and thinking.
Yeah, I think for now, there's a point where I might have to start thinking about some things. But
then the pressure and the reality settles in, but it's fine.
Yeah, honestly, it's more about maintaining, right? Like where I am, or the thing I did before. So I will repeat what I've done, but also I have to challenge myself to kind of create the new thing, or just do more or explore more of myself that I don't know yet. You know? And that's a bit of pressure, but it's more excitement than it is pressure. Okay, so I try to approach these things with a lot more excitement than it is pressure.
And on that note though, what are you currently really excited about that you're working on? Or maybe even something that you've done and you still get so much joy from thinking back to like, I was part of that.
Do you know what? Like, I'm really proud of just the work I did in Black Panther.
I mean, Black Panther.
I know. I mean,
yes.
But more so because it's like, yes, because it's Black Panther, but I think doing something cultural at a really high level, it just means a lot to me. And I'm really all about my culture and my heritage, and that's kind of throughout my work, and I think my personality. But also, I think doing that at one of the highest commercial levels, which is quite rare for, you know, people from kind of where I'm from. You know, I'm just with it every single day. I'm like, you know, I'm actually really thankful for that opportunity, and thankful to like Ludwig Garçon and Amaarae and people like that, because it's like that. Those are the kind of things that I live for. You know what I mean? Just working just in high art, but still being able to make a bit of some, you know, but pushing the culture forward with it.
Yeah, so is that like a goal of yours as well? I mean, what would be your dream and ideal project to work on? Is Rihanna. It within Rihanna?
That's just give me.
Well, firstly,
I do Rihanna, and I'm just don't talk to anymore, bro. Like, wow.
If you could get Rihanna to bring out music,
I'm trying to find someone who knows someone who knows someone. That's the.
But Rihanna, okay, because I thought it was also along film scores as well.
Oh no, for sure. But I think if we're like, I want to do everything, but I'm also realistic on the things that, you know, can be done now and can be done later. So I definitely, I also want to do film scores. I still want to do film scores, and I think I'm going to do that because I just love it, period. But on top of that, I also really love commercial music, and I love pop music, and I love, you know, just bringing a project together and it just doing numbers and people loving it, and I'm in that. So, and that's also someone who is part of where my culture is, and I'm like, and just again being able to work at the highest level in what I do with some of the highest people, and it have a high commercial success, and it's cultural. Let's go, man. And Rihanna's the height of that, respectfully. So yeah.
Okay, so. Well, if she brings out music and I don't see your name on it, I'm going to text you like, what has happened? Unless you change your name.
I'm probably, I'm doing the same thing, to be honest with you. I'm like, what's going on, bro? Because I've been trying.
Okay, so really quickly before I play a track, because you love film scores, what would you say your best film score is, like from a film?
That I love?
Yeah, that you love.
Oh.
No, let's take it, not that you've made, but that you love.
Cool. Oh, this is that one there. Let's see. It would probably have to be Crooklyn, Spike Lee. A guy called August Ben, who is a brilliant composer. That he's done everything from like Shaft. I mean, these are all like old 60s movies, and I'm into that kind of stuff.
Okay.
But just the music on that, how emotive it is, how he's got every single scene correct, but also it isn't just stooped in typical classical scores. Like he brings in music from what's going on in New York at the time, what's going on in Detroit, but also what's going on in South America, and it really depicts New York in the 60s to 70s. And it's if you're just listening to the score by itself, you almost feel that it's a coming of age story. I don't know if you've seen Crooklyn, it's a deep film.
Okay.
It's a really, really good film.
Okay.
But growing up on that, you hear just, how he's collabed with a lot of the musicians of the day to create something that feels authentic, but also is still within the confines of like a typical score that we can get the story across. But I'm always impressed with just scores that really boost the story, that I guess melodically you can listen to just by itself, and there's already a story there without any dialogue. And that film does it for me a lot of the time.
Okay, I'm going to add that to my list because I'm big on film scores as well. I still play Hans Zimmer's work from Interstellar.
The guy of guys. Although, arguably, his work on Pirates of the Caribbean is kind of better than Interstellar, I'm just saying.
Really?
If you deep that score, like, I mean, I don't mean just the beat. I'm like, every single scene that it's incredible.
Okay, incredible. I have to go back to that then. So. Right, okay. And one last question before I let you go is, what do you think the best song of all time is that's been made? Obviously, you didn't make.
This will change probably next week.
Okay, that's fine, but that's okay.
Damn.
Pressure has been applied.
This is what you do, Amelia. Just apply all the pressure all the time.
Best song
of all time. Damn.
I think
that's hard. That's hard. That's really, really hard.
Well, we have to
okay.
go
Do you know what?
soon.
Do you know what? Okay, cool. For You by Stevie Wonder.
For You by Stevie Wonder. I have to go back and listen to that.
Listen to that. It's an incredible record.
Okay, I'm going to judge. I'm not going to judge, but I'm going to judge and be like, wow. Okay.
I think you'll like it though.
Okay,
you're eclectic. You've got a good palette. Like I think you'll like it.
I mean, I couldn't answer that question, so well done to you because I wouldn't be able to pick that out of my head. Okay, but thank you so much for coming in and just even though you're booked and busy, you're flying out all the time. So that vibe. What can we look out for coming up that you're part of?
Ooh. Can I tell you? That's
what you can
thing.
tell us.
Okay, so I've got there's a really big Netflix show coming in the next couple of months that I've scored and doing the score for at the moment, and there is another slightly big project that I'm on that's coming out. I can't even tell you right now, but there's some good music with Irish Star coming. That's what I can say. And then everyone else, there's some Amaarae stuff and a bit more Afrobeats bits and pieces coming.
Okay, just name dropping here. Yeah, big artists, big things coming, but it's okay. All right, where do we go to find you, follow you, see you being an influencer?
Everything is Kojey Did It at Kojey Did It. That's on Instagram. I'm now on TikTok.
Oh wow!
To my horror, but I'm on some stuff.
You have to be.
But that's pressure. If you want to talk about pressure, doing that,
don't leave it to the Gen Zs.
That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to sleep, bro.
Well, thank you so much for coming in, and I look forward to seeing what this big Netflix thing is.
Appreciate you, girl.
I love the silence and the no names that you've given, but it's okay. This is Hide and Seek by Stormzy.